And there we go.
Hi everyone.
Hiya.
Welcome to our channel. We are the Bridge Builders of Diversity. If it's your first time here, welcome. I'm Sherry. I'm a mother of a child with Down syndrome. This is Roberta.
I'm Roberta, and I'm a special education teacher, and together we are Bridge Builders of Diversity.
Bridging that gap.
Yes, ma'am. Creating a platform of understanding between the typical world and our friends with disabilities. You know, there's 1 billion people worldwide with disabilities.
Yes, I do.
That's a lot of people. So let's all get together.
And here is one of them.
Here's one of them. Here's our friend Nate. Come on in, Nate.
You want to say hi?
All right.
No, he changed his mind.
All right. Never mind.
False alarm.
We thought he was going to come over.
We thought he was going to make a cameo, but
Yeah.
not
And today we're going to talk about something that's so critically important, especially to mothers who have young children.
And if you are a longtime follower, you know that we've talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again because we are coming to you right now in 2022. In 2022, we're recovering from the effects of lockdown and isolation. And there was no story time. There was no family get together.
So we can get Nate in here.
Come on in here, Nate.
Come over here, buddy.
So
He just wants to sit at the table.
A lot of families with young children were cut off from other people, so their children were making their milestones.
Oh, today's topic is developmental milestones. I think we forgot to mention that.
Oops, I'm sorry. Let's go back. Talking about developmental milestones. I was doing some research this morning, like I always do when I get curious about something, and I was taking a look through the developmental milestones from the Center for Disease Control. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has actually, for families, they have a free milestone tracker app. So if you have a young child at home or you know somebody who does, it's worth it to download onto one of your devices the milestone tracker app, where what you do is you plug in your child's birth date or their age if they're between birth and 5 years old. And what they'll do is tell you what your child should be doing. Should they be sitting up? Should they be crawling? Should they be, we call it furniture surfing, you know, when the baby pulls themselves up and crawls along the furniture. Should they be speaking? Should they be making eye contact, following a distal point? So if I point at something and say, hey, Sherry, look at that, the child will look over there.
And it is so important that your children meet certain milestones. It's critically important to brain development, and I don't think a lot of parents understand that connection. And it's very important that they don't skip any steps. I know when my son was younger, he had very low muscle tone and he was having trouble crawling because of that. And that was very critical to brain development and communication between hemispheres, as I understand it.
Yes, communication between the hemispheres of your brain, right.
So it's very important that kids don't miss certain developmental milestones because they have greater ramifications down the road that, you know, parents aren't, you know, we're not educated in milestones or medicine, most of us, so we may not know. Right. But it's important to understand all these developmental milestones and make sure the people who are helping you with your child, the educators, the physical therapists, the occupational therapists, you need to advocate for them and say, I want to make sure my child sits up, they're crawling, they're babbling, and
absolutely
whatever the milestone. If they're skipping one, that needs to be addressed when they're younger, because if it's missed when they're younger, you can't get it back later on.
I always explain it like this. If you think about running up the stairs more than one at a time. So if you think of development as stair steps, like each babbling before speaking, crawling before walking. But if you think about times that you've skipped a step, you are unsteady and shaky on that next step. And then you have to keep that forward momentum going. And sometimes it's hard. So you have to step on every step. So I'm going to go through real quick what your child should be doing at 1 year old. And this is right from the CDC's Milestone tracker. So under social emotional milestones, a child should be interacting with their caregiver. So they're going to play patty cake. They're going to play peekaboo. They might imitate you. If you make a funny face, they'll make a funny face back. In their language communication, they're going to show communicative intent. So they're going to call for you over and over and over again until your ears bleed. But they're going to wave bye-bye to everyone, even the creepy guy in the coffee shop. And they're going to understand the negative. In other words, when you say no to them, they'll stop because they understand the negative. Their cognitive milestones are putting in and taking out, and looking for things that you hide. This is called object permanence, and it's something that we, when we do a child find screening, we check for. If I hide something from you, are you going to know to look for it, or do you just think it's gone? Other important things to look for is, or things to share with your doctor, are what are the things that you're doing with your baby? Is your baby in the house most of the time? Are they outside a lot? Do they crave a lot of attention? Are they super active, or are they the kind of baby that you can plop down with some toys and go cook dinner? What do they like and don't like? Are they sensitive? Is there anything that your baby doesn't do that's concerning you? Like, do they have an older cousin and you remember that at 1 year old they were doing these things? Super important too to note any lost skills. While that does happen, and it's not always a red flag, but lost skills are something to pay attention to and look at. So again, if you have a young child in your life, I recommend downloading the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's Milestone Tracker app. It is free. And if you notice that a child in your life isn't meeting their developmental milestones on time, if they're delayed, or if they're even precocious, that would be a discussion to have with your pediatrician. And then you can open the channel of discussion for whether you need to go forward with early intervention services, which are available in all 50 states to anyone with a child between the ages of birth and 3 years old that may not be meeting their developmental milestones.
Can we just quickly go through 0 to 1 things for parents to watch for?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's look at, what your child should be doing by the time they're a year, I just went through. But let's look at what they're doing at 9 months. At 9 months, your child should be
starting to sit up,
yep,
crawling.
They're going to be going through stranger danger. They're going to be shy and clingy. They're going to have a lot of different facial expressions. They're going to look when you call their name. That's a super important one. They're going to react when you leave. They're going to cry and be very melodramatic when you leave. And then they're going to smile, laugh, play peekaboo. They're going to be interactive. At 9 months old, they're also starting to babble a lot. If they're precocious, they're speaking full words. And then they're going to gesture to show you what they want. They might point to the things they want, or they lift their hands to be picked up. They might have funny words for things that for their toys. Like a favorite one was ga for my friend's grandson calls his blanket his ga, which is adorable.
To feed themselves.
They're starting to pick up food and put it in their mouths. They're starting to put everything in their mouths.
Yeah, so be careful with that.
They're developing that pincer grasp. They're picking things up and banging two objects together. They're starting to. This is one of the cute things. They'll start to put everything together. Like if you give them a basket, they'll just pick random things up and put it in the basket.
So if you're not seeing these things, talk to the pediatrician.
And absolutely, let's go back to 6 months. We're working backwards. A 6-month-old should know familiar people. They should look at themselves in the mirror. You're going to start to hear those belly laughs at about 6 months old. Or they might chuckle or belly, depending on their personality. They're gonna take turns making sounds at you. If you go ba 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 ba, they're gonna imitate you.
Ready.
Blow raspberries and make screechy noises. They're gonna put everything in their mouth still. They're going to reach for something that they see or want. They can roll from their tummy to their back. They can push themselves up when they're on their tummy. They're going to lean on their hands to support themselves when sitting. So in other words, picture them sitting, and then they're going to put their hands down next to them to keep themselves up and to support that trunk.
So if you see anything that's unusual, again, just let your pediatrician know, address those issues, because developmental milestones are critically important for children to meet. So it's very important to have them addressed immediately.
And early intervention can make a world of difference. I always use the example of students that I've had in the past who came in under the banner of developmental delay. Well, just this springtime here, and we just had almost my entire preschool class was inducted into the National Honor Society.
Oh, cool.
So these were kids that came in under that banner of developmental disability, but they are excelling now.
Right.
So I remember, it's not a death sentence. It's not a label that's going to stay with your child forever. It's just, if you think of it as just like a support, like a leg up to get to where they need to be.
Absolutely. If you like our content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we talk about all things disabilities and helping bridging the gap between the typical community and the special needs community. If there's content you'd like to see, put a comment down below.
Please, we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Push all the buttons.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you. We are bridge builders of diversity.
Thank you.
Bye.